Good morning.
Om Sadashiva-Samrambha
Sadashiva-Samadham
Shankaracharya-Madhyamam
Madhyamam
Asmadacharya-Paryantam Vande Guru-Paramparam. Om
Om
Sahana-Vavatu
Sahana
Sahana-Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat. Om Namah Shivaya. Good morning. So, we are now on verse number 90. So let us chant that. Aparoksha Anubhuti, verse number 90. Utpanne pyatma vijnane
उत्पन्नेऽप्यात्मविज्ञाने
arabdham naiva munchati
आरब्धनैव मुञ्चति
iti yat shruyate shastre
इति यच्छ्रूयते
Yate Shastre
tannirakriyate dhuna.
तन्निराक्रियते
Dhuna.
So the next 10 verses or so, the topic is a new one. It is whether Ajnani has got, not Ajnani, whether a Jnani has got Prarabdha or not. So, what is the answer? Normally, we have been seeing in all our texts and all our discussions, we say yes, Jnani has Prarabdha, right? And why does he have Prarabdha?
because he still has the body.
Because he still has the body. So that is the normal answer which we talk about, not only for junior students, for people who are slightly advanced also. But what is the real answer? And this answer depends upon the adhikaritvam, the what is called the adhikari bheda. What is the level of the student? So what is the methodology of teaching? I first introduce water, and then I introduce wave. And then I say water and wave are different. The next level is, I will say actually the wave is not different from the water because the wave cannot exist without the water because it is only name and form. And ultimately there is no thing called, no substance called wave. It is water only. So wave is mithya, name and form. Water alone is the satya. Similarly, when we talk about anatma and atma, we, in the beginning stages, at any initial level class, beginner's class, you say that there are two things, Atma, Anatma. Atma is conscious, Chaitanyam. Anatma is Jada, inert. So there is a clear distinction which is admitted. Now, and finally we say, of course, that there is nothing called Anatma because everything is Atma alone. Now, with regard to Prarabdha Karma, we have a similar way of teaching. So in Tattva Bodha we saw everybody has got Sanchita, Agami and Prarabdha Karma, right? So would somebody like to just recapitulate what these three are? Very short, 119 each.
Sanchita is the storehouse of karma from all the previous janmas, which the jiva carries, and prarabdha is we were told that is those set of karmas which have already set into action in this janma for them to fructify, and agami are the ones which are being added to this sanchita due to actions of karma or actions of this jiva.
Actions of the person. Very good. Remember, Sanchita comes from the root Sanchi. Okay, Sanchi, yes. People who are from the south will know Sanchi is a bag, accumulation, something where you can accumulate things. So everything is accumulated there, and then of course a part of it fructifies as prarabdha karma, and the body ends on the expiry of the prarabdha karma. So we say that in the case of jnani, the sanchita is burnt, is destroyed because of jnanam, and therefore jnani is free from sanchita the moment he again becomes a jnani. Now after jnanam, there is no agami either, right? Because agami cannot come. Why? Sanchita doesn't, jnani doesn't have a aham karta, I am the doer notion. So there is no agami for a jnani once he has become a jnani. Then, so Sanchita gets removed on gaining jnanam, and agami is eliminated, or future agami is eliminated on becoming a jnani. The prarabdha continues for the jnani because the body survives. And this is a very important idea, because without the body surviving, there is no acharya available for teaching. So this is the normal understanding. How long this jnani will live will depend upon the prarabdha. Right? Now here Shankara says that this view is all wrong. Jnani does not have prarabdha also. And we have to understand that statement carefully. Why is it that Shankara puts forward the view that jnani cannot have prarabdha? Because when you say jnani has prarabdha, are you taking the jnani as karta or akarta? You are taking the jnani as karta. Why? Prarabdha is karma phalam. Karma phalam is born out of karta, and therefore karma phalam always belongs to a karta. So sanchita karma, prarabdha karma, agami karma, all the three belong to the karta alone. Who is a jnani? He is a person who has understood the fact that he is not a karta. Can you say that jnani became a non-karta after jnanam?
After Jnanam, he realized that he was never a karta.
He was never a karta. But was he a karta before jnanam?
It's
Or if
like
you want to replace the word jnani, jnani twatmaiva me matam, says Krishna. Jnani is atma only. So you can replace that question with, is atma a karta before the jiva gets jnanam?
Atma was ever a karta.
No, Atma
Yes.
is never a karta.
Right. So atma was never a karta. Atma can never be a karta.
Akarta,
Therefore, the
Bhokta.
fact, the only thing that changes is, at one point of time, the jnani, this jiva, the jnani does not know that he is akarta. And after jnanam, he knows that he is akarta. Even when he knows, even when he does not know that he is akarta, remember, he, the atma, is always akarta. You are following the argument. So where is the question of sanchita karma, agami karma, or prarabdha karma for the person who is always akarta? Okay, so this is one answer that we give. So Shankara says that jnani has no prarabdha at all. Right? And you have to carefully understand. When you say that jnani has prarabdha karma, are you referring to the jnani as body-mind complex or as atma?
Body-mind
Body-mind complex.
Which is not the definition of jnani at all.
Correct.
Jnani does not think he is BMC. Right? Jnani knows he is atma. So that answer is that jnani does not have any sort of karma at all, not even prarabdha karma. Okay. We can also look at it another way. Jnani has discovered the fact that Atma is Satyam and Anatma is Mithya. Right? Having discovered that, he knows that all the karma is done by the Anatma. And the karma phalam also goes to the Anatma. Prarabdham also goes to the Anatma. Right? But he has dismissed the entire Anatma as Mithya. When the whole Anatma has been falsified as Mithya, which means he has disowned the whole world, saying that the whole world, the entire Anatma is Mithya only. How will the Jnani hold on to Prarabdha as Satyam? If you want to take the example of the rope snake, when in the light of knowledge, when the rope snake has been negated, you have seen the light, you have got a torch in your hand, right? The rope snake has been negated. Will that negated rope snake continue to have poison in its glands?
No.
So that is the answer which is being given here. When you have negated the whole world as mithya, how is it that you say Jnani has prarabdha? Because Jnani cannot hold on to prarabdham. Because prarabdham is part of mithya only. And if you are negating mithya, you also negated prarabdha karma. So whichever way you look at it, there is no prarabdha karma for the Jnani. Then why does Shastra begin by saying that Jnani has prarabdha? That is because at the beginning levels, when a student comes to Vedanta, and quite a bit into it also, there is a very strong body identification of the student with his own body. And because of that orientation, he continues to look upon the Jnani also as the body-mind complex. And therefore he says that at the time of death of the body of the Jnani, the prarabdha goes away. That understanding comes from the view that the body of the Jnani is the Jnani. And that is influenced by the orientation that I am the body-mind complex. My self-identification is so strong as it spills over into my view of other people also. Anybody I look at, he is the body-mind complex only. The orientation is very much there in spite of study. What about the Jnani? He has understood that he is the Atman. Therefore, he knows that whatever belongs to the body is mithya. Prarabdha belongs to the body, it is mithya. So from the standpoint of the RC, the Ahankara, we can say that Jnani has prarabdha. But from the standpoint of the Atma, the OC, you cannot say that Jnani has prarabdha. Or to put it in technical language, from the viewpoint of Vyavaharika Drishti point of view, Jnani has prarabdha, but from the Paramarthika Drishti, from the absolute viewpoint of view, Jnani does not have prarabdha. This is what is said in this verse. Is Atma Vijnane Utpanne Api. Even when Atma Jnanam is born, Api, even when Atma Vijnane Utpanne Api, even when Atma Jnanam is born, Prarabdham Naiva Munchati. Prarabdham does not go away. Iti yat shruyate shastre. This is the answer you get from Shastra. This is the general answer. Okay. So this is what I was talking about. Generally we say Jnani is Prarabdha. But Shankara then says, Tata Adhuna Nirakriyate. Tata, that common viewpoint, Adhuna, now, Nirakriyate, I am going to negate. Right? So negation is not to be taken very literally, because when you say Shastra says something, you cannot say that Shastra view has to be negated. Because why can you not say that?
Because it's the pramanam.
Shastra is pramanam. You cannot negate the words of Shastra. What you can do, you can say, yes, Shastra has said this, but interpret it appropriately. And so here he says that Shastric view I am going to interpret appropriately now in the following verses. Okay. Verse number 91, we will chat. Tattvajnanodhyadhurdvam
Tatvajnanodayadurdhvamam
prarabdham naiva vidyate
प्रारब्धं
prarabdhamay
नैव
vidyate
विद्यते
देहादीनामसत्त्वात्
देहादीनां
dehadinamasatya
सत्त्वात्
तु यथा स्वप्नो विबोधतः.
tu yatha
तु यथा स्वप्नविबोधतः.
vibhutatah.
So the first word we break up, tattva jnana udayat urdhvam. A bit tricky to break. Tattva jnana udayat urdhvam. Tattva jnana udayat means what?
On the rising or the
Rise.
realization.
Tattva jnana udayat. Rise of
Udaya.
tattva jnana urdhvam. So urdhvam literally means what?
Up,
Urdhva
above,
Moolovadhamsha. Yeah.
Up, right? So here it is
upward.
after. After tattva jnanam has arisen. So tattva jnana udayat urdhvam. After the rise of atma jnanam, prarabdham naiva vidyate. There is no prarabdha at all. So this is what Shankara is now saying. Prarabdha we explain in the beginning. Why do we accept prarabdha in the beginning? To explain the continuity of the jnani's body. Because prarabdha is the glue which holds the body together. So you cannot say that the prarabdha of the body has gone, because then if that happens, the body will die. So therefore Shankara here is saying that the explanation that the body continues is from the standpoint of the beginner, of the worldly people. Because when the jnani has negated the entire jagat as mithya, dehadinam asatvat. The jnani has, of course, negated his own body also, right? When the universe is negated, time and space are also negated. Body belongs to time and space. Body is born in time and space. Therefore, when you negate time and space, the body is also negated. From the jnani's viewpoint, he does not have a body at all because he is Brahman. Right? And therefore, when the product, the body, is negated, you don't need the karanam, which is the prarabdha. Prarabdha is the karanam, which is the cause of the body, which is the karya. Prarabdha is the cause of the product, which is the body. And so when Jnani says that there is no body, where does he need prarabdha to explain the body? That is the idea being conveyed. And Shankara gives an example. He says, Yatha swapno vibodhataha. When you wake up, vibodhataha, swapna vanishes. So do all the restrictions of the swapna, of the dream. Supposing you are sitting on top of Mount Everest in your dream and you wake up, you do not continue to find yourself in Mount Everest, right? Whatever environment was there in the dream has vanished. Similarly, on gaining jnanam, prarabdha which belongs to vyavaharika will no longer be available. So the argument is that from the worldly point of view, prarabdha is required to explain the continuity of the jnani's body. But from Paramarthika viewpoint, from the Jnani's point of view, The jnani does not consider that he has a body at all. So where is the question of having prarabdha at all? Okay, the very nicely put forward view, which goes against everything that you have studied so far. So any questions so far?
Om Raviji,
Yeah.
two things that emerge from these two verses is that essentially, therefore, the idea of even the birth, asti jayate vardhate, and all of that is
Yeah.
only mithya as much, and does not therefore really, except in the eyes of the ajnani, for the jnani, even that does not really exist anymore.
Correct. In his understanding, it's like looking at the necklace and
Yes.
understanding that it is only gold.
And the second thing, which from the wave example that you were saying, is also that perhaps the state of the jnani is such that while we may address it as mithya, he is understood as mithya, but even mithya gives a sense that it is that something is separate and it is negated. But perhaps he does not even see that division. I mean, it is all is in him, and he's there is nothing apart from him, and therefore there is no him and there is no jagat. That differentiation itself falls apart, except in the eyes of the onlooker who sees him as the body because of his ajnanam.
That is
Is
correct.
that
But remember that from the point of view of perception, he is using the body.
hmm,
So he will see the differences. But from the point of view of understanding, there is nothing at all. Only he is there.
right? Yes. Thank you.
Now let's look at verse number 92. We will chant. Karma janmantariyam
कर्म
कर्म
जन्मान्तरीयम्
जन्मान्तरीयम्
yat prarabdhamiti kirtitam
यत्
यत्
प्रारब्धम्
प्रारब्ध इति
कृतम्
कीर्तितम्
yat prarabdhamiti kirtitam
यत्
यत्
प्रारब्धम् इति
प्रारब्धमिति
कीर्तितम्
कीर्तितम्
tattu janmantaraabhavat
तत्तु
तत्तु
जन्मान्तराभावात्
जन्मान्तराभावात्
pumso naivasti karhichit
पुंसो
पुंसो
नैवास्ति
नैवास्ति
कदाचित्
कश्चित्
Okay, now there is a second idea which is normally conveyed when we start in the beginning, when we start to teach Vedanta, and that is it talks about what is the cause of prarabdha karma. What is the cause of prarabdha karma?
The karma phala of the karma done uh, in the previous janmas is what
Karma
results
phala
in.
of previous janma, right? Now, here what is being said, when the jnani has understood that he has, that is, he has got no body, right? Jnani knows that he doesn't have a body at all. That is why he said that, that is because I have no body, where is the question of prarabdha? Here the argument is different. He says, when I have no body, then obviously I have no previous janma, right? So, which janma will result in the prarabdha karma? So, he is saying, I have no janma. Now, when Jnani says, I have no janma, again, normally what do we say? We convey the view that there is no more janma. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam is not there for a jnani. That is the idea we convey, right? So, in explaining, we say, okay, he has got jnanam in this janma, therefore he has no future janmas. Therefore, all future janmas are being negated. What is the correct answer? When jnani says, I have no janma, he is not talking about future janma at all. Jnani saying that I never had any janma, neither the past, nor the present, nor the future. Right? You understand?
Yes.
So these are all subtle ideas which we are refining our understanding. And that is why, you will not find this kind of discussion in, let us say, the Bhagavad Gita or in the Upanishads. Therefore, it is very important to do these small texts where ideas which are implicit in the teachings of the Upanishads and the Gita are there, but they are brought to the forefront so that we are able to understand it clearly. So, what is birth? Birth is samyoga with the two bodies, Sthula and Sukshma Sharira. What is death? It is Viyoga with Sthula and Sukshma Sharira. So, birth is association with the two bodies. Death is disassociation with the two bodies. Right? Now, again, when Jnani has negated the whole world, he has also negated all the three bodies. How can therefore he say that I have any association with something which is not there? And therefore, Jnani does not have any janma at all, is the idea conveyed. So he says, karma janmantarariyam yat prarabdham. Prarabdham is born out of janmantara. Iyam janmantara, the previous janma, karma. Right? Karma janmantariyam or iyam janmantara karma. The karma born out of the previous janma, that is called prarabdha. Yat prarabdham. Iti kirtitam. Iti kirtitam means this is how prarabdham is presented in the Shastra. Right? But tat, but when, so tat tu, you break it up into tu plus tat. Tu means but, tat janmantara abhava. When I have negated that very janmantara abhava, when the previous janma itself is not there, pumso naivasti karhichit, how can there be any purva janma prarabdha at all? Right? So, if when you have understood Vedanta properly, if you ask the question, will I have a rebirth or did I have a previous birth? Then the teacher should tell you that you have not really understood Vedanta. A correctly understood Vedanta is what? I had no birth. I am beyond birth or death for that matter. Okay. Now let us try to quickly summarize the discussions so far. The first argument is that from the Paramarthika Drishti, from the Jnani's vision, the body is mithya because it is anatman. And when this mithya body is negated by the Jnani, where is the question of prarabdha at all? Because prarabdha is the very cause of the body, and the body has been negated. Prarabdha cannot be accepted. Therefore, prarabdha is like the rabbit's horn, which is non-existent. Right? Because there is no body, where is the question of prarabdha? That is the first argument. The second argument is that he doesn't have any previous birth at all. And prarabdha is the papa punya fruits of the previous birth. But when the jnani is free from janma, where is the question of prarabdha from a previous janma attaching to him at all? That is the second answer. Therefore, when we say that jnani has prarabdha, or when anybody says that jnani has prarabdha, they are talking from the Vyavaharika point of view, accepting the reality of the body. But from the Paramarthika point of view, as Vedantic students, we have to say that there is no body for the jnani. Where is the question of any prarabdha being there for the body? Okay. Now we look at verse number.
Acharya, may I
Yeah,
ask?
please.
So, but at the end of it, it's still this mithya body which helped the jnani reach that or realize or know that. So how can he, why should it be absolutely discredited?
When you wear the necklace, it doesn't take away from the reality of the necklace as the gold.
Right.
That's the answer. Transactionally, you can do whatever you want. Transactionally, you need the body. In fact, without the body, you wouldn't be able to come to jnanam at all because you need the mind for that.
What I meant, and also the other ajnanis in the world who still need this jnani for so
The
many
teaching.
things.
For the
Yes.
teaching, yes.
So it's this body through which he's manifesting.
Correct. I'm not disputing a statement. All I'm saying is that the entire thing is mithya.
Yes.
So don't think that mithya is being, put on a lower pedestal or something. No. Mithya is the reality of the universe, as you know. But substratum is something else. That you have to. Mithya has
Yes.
its effects on you, Mithya has utility. You can do transaction with it. You can experience mithya. All these things are there. But that doesn't take away from the mithya status. Mithya can never be satyam.
Yes.
Useful
Indeed.
things need not be the truth. That is what it is said.
Yeah. It still continues to remain useful.
It still continues to
Not.
remain useful. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Verse number 93. स्वप्नदेहो यथाध्यस्तः
स्वप्नदेहो यथाध्यस्तः
तथैवायं हि देहकः
तथैवायं हि देहकः
अध्यस्तस्य कुतो जन्म
अध्यस्तस्य कुतो जन्म
जन्माभावे हि तत्कृत् जन्माभावे हि तत्कुतः So we said that the jnani has no janma at all, neither present nor future nor previous. What is the definition of janma? Acquiring a body is janma. Discarding the body is marana. And therefore, punarjanma, rebirth, is acquiring another physical body. Now we know that Einstein said E is equal to mc squared. Matter can never be created or destroyed. Anatma can never be created or destroyed. That is a scientific truth. It's also the Shastric statement that Anatma will always be there. And we saw in Bhagavad Gita how Krishna says that there is only change of form, never destruction of Anatma. So here, Shankara says that it goes one step further. Here we said that birth is association with a body and death is disassociation or discarding the body. Sanyogam, Vyogam. Right? Shankara says that where is the question of Sanyogam? Because the body is mithya. How can you have an association with a non-existent thing? Right? So the physical body is a superimposition. Adhyastha. Adhyastha means superimposition, which is mithya. And therefore, here he gives the example of a body which is there in the dream state. He says, Swapna Deho, the body in the dream state, Yatha Adhyastaha. in the manner in which the dream body is superimposed upon the waker. So the waker gets a mithya association with the dream body. Why mithya association? Because the dream body itself is mithya. He says, similarly, tatha eva, in the same way, I am hi dehakaha. This body which you see in the waking state, Jagrat body, Jagrat deha, Tatha eva means Tatha adhyastaha, is also superimposed, falsely projected, falsely perceived, and just as unreal. So here you have to understand the three levels of reality we are talking about. Pratibhasika, which is the subjective reality. Vyavaharika, which is the objective reality. And Paramarthika, which is the absolute reality. The dream is subjective reality. So Pratibhasika Satyam. That subjective body becomes mithya when you come to Vyavaharika, when you wake up. Right? Similarly, he says, you take another level. From Vyavaharika reality, the objective reality, you go to the absolute reality. You will find that just as the entire dream universe is negated when you come to objective reality, similarly, when you come to absolute reality, the entire objective universe, Vyavaharika, is also negated. So he says, Adhyastasya kuto janmaha. How can you talk of origination of a superimposed entity? Adhyastasya adhyastaha. That body itself, both in Pratibhasika as well as in Vyavaharika, that body is superimposed. Kuto janmaha. How can there be the talk of origination of a superimposed body? So it's like talking about the date of birth of the rope snake, right? Will you go to a astrologer to get you a horoscope of the rope snake? No, because the rope snake is mithya. And how does the rope snake get reality? Because you give it attributes. You say, oh, it is 6 feet long, it is curved, it is black in color, it has got poison. The more attributes you add to the rope snake, the more reality that snake gets in your mind. The more attributes you add to the world, the more reality the world gets in your mind. So when the jnani sees the world as mithya, where is the question of taking the world as real? So to talk about the birth of the world, for example, if you say the world is born, you have to talk about time, right? Now, if you want to say when time is born, you have to talk about something else. So you will require another frame of reference. So in this discussion, anything you talk about, to explain that, you need a further frame of reference. You will never be able to come to a conclusion. That is why we say it is Maya. It's logical contradiction. It can never be. It's a circular argument. You can never come to a final conclusion. And therefore he says Janma Abhave. When there is no Janma at all, when there is no birth at all for the body, Tathi Kutaha, where is the question of any Prarabdha karma? When there is no karma, where is the question of Prarabdha karma for the jnani? Okay, now let us look at verse number 94. Upadanam prapanchasya
Upadanam prapanchasya
Prapanchasya
mridbhandasyeva kathyate
मृद्भाण्डस्येव कथ्यते
कथ्यते
ajnanam chaiva vedantaihi
अज्ञानं
अज्ञानं
वेदवेदसंहितान्तैः
तस्मिन्नष्टे क्व विश्वता
तस्मिन्नष्टे क्व
तस्मिन्नष्टे
विश्वतः
क्व
विश्वतः
Another example. So Shankara says, take a pot. Why do you take the pot as Satyam? Why do you take the pot as real? Because you have not understood that the substance is clay alone. As long as you don't understand that the substance is clay, and the substance is clay, when you say, you are meaning existence belongs to clay. And because you don't know that the existence belongs to clay, what do? You transfer the existence to the Namarup. And then you say the pot is what exists. Actually, it is only the clay which exists. But that existence you have transferred to the pot, the Namarupa. And therefore you look upon the pot as an existent pot. That view is not because the existence of the pot is a fact, but it is because I do not know that the clay is the one which really exists. And as long as clay ignorance continues, what will happen? I will regard the pot as Satyam. Until such time I understand that the clay is the substance, I will think the name and form of the pot as the substance. And that is why when you want to inquire into the rope snake, the inquiry is not into the snake, it is into the rope. Therefore, ignorance of clay is the cause of reality of the pot. Similarly, ignorance of Atma is the cause of attributing reality to Anatma. Because when I have negated the whole world as Anatma, how can I keep holding on to this body as real? Because the body is also belonging to the world. And that is what he says here. Ajnanam prapanchasya upadanam. Ignorance is the upadana karanam, material cause for prapanchasya, for this universe. This idea is not known through your sense organs. Vedantaihi kathyate. Only Vedanta Shastra will tell you this idea. That ignorance is the material cause for the universe. So the idea that Anatma is mithya is understood when Shastra introduces Atma as the Satyavastu, as the real entity. And he gives an example, Mrid Bhandasya Eva. So Bhanda means vessel. So you can take it as pot over here. Mrid is clay. Mrid Bhandasa Eva. Just as the Mrid, the clay, is the karanam for the pot, the Bhanda. Tasmin nashte. When that ajnanam, when that ignorance is gone, ignorance of what? Ignorance of the clay is gone, then where is the question of the pot being Satyam? Similarly, when the ignorance of Atma is gone, Kva Vishwata, where is the question of the world being there at all? So just as the pot is a word which exists only on your tongue, the world, the Jagat, is also just a word which is uttered by your tongue. There is no reality to that Jagat. So any mithya vastu, remember, consists of only words referring to particular forms. Forms also don't exist, and words exist only on your tongue, uttered by your tongue only. So what is real is Brahman. which is the essence of the whole world and the whole creation. And this idea was conveyed in Bhagavad Gita itself. Brahmarpanam Brahmahavi. Okay, we look at verse number 95.
Acharya, can I say something now or should we wait?
No, please go ahead.
So some mananam that I was doing, why does this all make me feel as if it's the earth going from the bottom of my feet and there are no boundaries, there are no edges, time, space, and everything becomes like just, I don't know how to put it, one or whole, or is this something which I am experiencing normal, or is it
Ask
something?
the others. Can anybody respond to her question? Kush, you want to respond?
The sun appears rising and falling, but apparently now we know the truth that the sun never sets and never rises.
No.
Yes,
Similarly,
What Vinita is asking you
but
something else. Why does it feel
yeah,
like this? At the
yeah.
emotional level, why does it feel like this?
Or even at the level of understanding after some mananam, like once you have earlier many times said that after all this, there is really nothing we feel, because everything is mithya and the boundaries become blurred. There is no. That's what I'm trying to express. I don't know if I'm being able to say it correctly.
Acharyaji, I think it's because we are trying to understand, assimilate Advaitam while still being in the Dvaita Vyavaharika and also clinging on to that.
No, actually, from my point of view,
No.
it is a natural reaction because you who have always thought of yourself as a very finite, limited body are suddenly being told that
Right.
you are not. So it's okay. I mean, there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with it.
And even the world. Today we now understand that even the world is
But as long
mithya.
as you keep your leg on the earth, in your
Right.
transactions, everything is fine.
One leg in Vyavaharika and understanding that I'm Paramarthika. Yeah.
Okay, so one more
Okay,
verse we
thank you,
will do.
Acharya.
Verse number 95. Yatha rajjum parityajya.
Yatha
Yathara rajum
Rajum
parityaja
parityajya
Sarpram ghrannati vaibrhamat.
sarpam ghrannadi
nadi
vaibhavat
vibhrama
Tadvat satyam avignaya.
tadvat satyam
tadvat
avijnaya
maya
Jagat pashyati moodadihi.
jagat
jagat
pashyati
pashyati
moodhatihi.
moodhatihi.
Moodadhihi. Actually, it's a long dhi. So moodadhihi. Okay. So earlier on, we saw that two ideas are there, that the when Ajnanam goes, Prarabdham also goes. And we said, give an example, that the rope snake which enjoys a Satyam status, because of rope ignorance, that status goes away when the truth of the rope is inquired into. So here the comparison can be given. The rope is compared to Atma and the snake is comparable to Anatma. Right? So rope is what gives rope is the existing entity, and that existence of the rope is lent to the snake because of ignorance of the fact that it is a rope which exists. So that existence which is lent to the snake, that gives apparent satyatvam to the snake. The snake is apparently understood as real, because it is not understood that it is the rope which is real. So he says here, Yatha Rajjum Parityajya. Just as when the rope is not recognized, right? Parityajya actually means to give up. So you will say, just as when the rope is not given up, which is saying that when you do not understand the reality of the rope, so that very nicely poetic way of saying that the rope is not been recognized for what it is. Yatha Rajjum Parityajya. You have given up the rope. How? By not knowing that it is a rope. When that happens, what happens? Sarpam Granati Vaibramat. The rope is taken as a snake because of Brahma, because of Ajnanam, illusion, delusion. So that is the first part. Because the rope is not recognized, it is given up. And when you give up the rope, what you have now is the snake. Tadvat, in the same way, Satyam Avijnaya, not having recognized Brahman as Satyam, what happens? Mudadhihi, the deluded person who has not seen Brahman as Satyam, Jagat Pashyati, he takes the world as real. So remember that perception of the world is common to all of us, to Jnani and Ajnani. And therefore, it cannot be the perception of the world which causes you a problem. Because the Jnani also sees the world. Therefore, it has to be something else. What is it something else? The taking of the world as Satyam, acceptance of the world as Satyam, that is the cause of all the problems. Jnani also perceives the world. Ajnani also perceives the world. Jnani does not take the world as Satyam. So Jnani is not troubled by the world. Ajnani takes the world as Satyam. So Ajnani is troubled by the world. For the Ajnani, the world is a terror. For the Jnani, the same world is a Leela, it is an entertainment. Okay, one more verse number 96.
Acharya, can I interrupt just?
Yes,
This
please.
class also, this is also like a part of a dream only, like what we are, everything seems like a dream. Like Dr. Vinita said, something, that sort of a thing.
It has to be assimilated properly. You see, but even in the transactional world, you have to ensure that you behave in a Vyavaharika manner. You know, you can't say I'm Brahman and walk around. So that is only for your consumption. That is why actually in the
Yes.
old days it was not being taught widely because it requires a particular type of mind to it. Yes, Rajeshwari ji, boliye.
Mm.
While these two discussions are happening, an example just occurred to me, so I thought maybe I can share it with everyone. It's
Yeah,
like
please.
the blind man with a stick. So when he is walking initially, the stick is his, support to execute his life. And when he is later on operated and he gets a set of new eyes, he still can't believe that now the stick is no more needed. So for some time, it takes a kind of adjustment to believe that, yes, I can be without the stick, which I always held on to. And with this new vision, can still execute in the world without the stick. But over time, the stick falls, the need for the stick, the understanding creeps in that, yes, the stick is no more a part of me. I am no more needed to hold it. And he kind of successfully, is able to
Yeah, he can do that. Or
now.
alternatively, he can convert the stick into a fashion statement.
Yeah,
So which is what you want to do.
creativity.
You want to create the world, convert the world into a fashion statement.
And also know that he was never blind.
Right.
That's very important. He was never blind. He
That is the
just didn't,
limitation of the
he thought,
example, but
Yes,
yeah. He
exactly.
thought he was blind.
Yes. because he continues to believe, so he thinks he needs this stick. Now he realizes never doesn't need it. But yes,
He
like
doesn't need it.
Acharya, Raviji said,
Yeah.
the limitation of the example to say that.
Examples always are limitation. If you go beyond the limitation, then there is a problem. Let us take one more last verse. Verse number 96. Rajjurupe parignate
Rajjurupe parignate
sarpakhandam na tishtati
Sarvakhandam na
Khandam
tishtati
tishtati
adishthane tatha jnate
Adhisthane tatha gyate
Adhisthane
panchashunyatam gataha.
Prapanchashunyatam gataha.
Very simple verse. Rajju Rupe Parignate, having clearly understood the nature of the rope. Rajju Rupaha, nature of the rope. Parignate, having clearly understood. Remember that Jnate means understood. The prefix Pari is in the nature of completely. So Parignate, having clearly and completely understood the rope, Sarpa Khandam na tishtati. So Khandam here is taken as very small piece, a small bit. So Sarpa Khandam na tishtati. Even the smallest bit of the snake will not remain. You cannot say snake is not there, but the snake's fangs are there. So once the nature of the rope is clearly known, there is not even the smallest fragment of the snake which remains. Similarly, tatha adishthane gyate, having known the adishthanam Brahman, prapanchaha shunyatam gataha, the world vanishes completely. Right? The idea is that even if the smallest bit of the rope remains, of the snake remains, will you touch the rope? No, because you will think, oh, maybe the fang will hit me. Therefore, only when the snake completely disappears will I have the, the courage to touch the rope. Similarly, when the world completely disappears, completely goes away, then only will you know that you are Brahman. So with this, we'll stop for today. You can see the ideas are very simple, but the way in which they are presented is very good for Mananam and Nididhyasanam. Okay, so with this, any questions? Otherwise, we'll stop here. Okay, thank you for your patience. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Eva Vasishyate Om Shanti 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 Om Tat Sat Om Namah Shivaya. Thank you for your patience. Om Om.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.